So here I want to go through a couple of things with our project on North America. For those of you that were not in class or those of you that forgot we talked about in class, here is a quick overview. And so you want to make sure that you are looking at the information here I included in unit number 2, Canada and the United States. And so I'm going to find that North America project assignment. For those of you that have already signed up, you should see the project assignment list down here. And I'm going to just jump into the North America project. Now, this does count as a test/project grade, and so you want to make sure that you are fulfilling all the requirements and doing an awesome job with that. And so when we click here, it's going to pull up the information sheet, and this is all the stuff that we covered in class. So there are two things that happen in this project. The first aspect of this project is your poster board. So the standard size is roughly 24 by 36, I think, if I remember correctly. And you can acquire those from anywhere from the dollar store to Walmart. I even have some in my classroom available for purchase for $1. If you don't want to go out and find those anywhere else, you can stop by and see me and pick up one of those from my classroom. On that poster board, we are looking for a number of things regarding your province of Canada and your state of the United States. If for some reason you are not in class and did not get one or don't remember, check the list there on Canvas. If you do not find yourself on that list, then you need to come see me or email me right away to find out how to get on that list. So everybody has their own province, has their own state. This is not a group project. This is an individual project that you should be working on your own and doing the research on your own, so that way you can present this well. Now, there is no in-class audio or verbal presentation. This is only going to be posted in the classroom, and then the essay is going to be turned in on Canvas. And so you don't have to get up in front of the class and explain anything. You don't have to present anything. You are simply putting it into written and visual form. So we begin with the poster board. First thing I'm looking for is a large outline of the political boundary. I've given you some examples of years past, and you can see some of the outlines of those that clearly define what they are. Now, I have modified some things from years past, and so these examples may not have everything on there that's necessary, but you can at least see the outline of the province and the state. Then I'm asking for you to include a minimum of 5 major geographic features. You can pick whatever 5 you want, but you need to have 5 for the state and 5 for the province. Make sure they're labeled correctly on the map. Those can be mountains, rivers, major landforms of some sort, so that we get an idea of the geography. Include the top 3 major cities. And so one of those should be your state or provincial capital. Make sure that's labeled clearly. And then pick 2 other major cities to highlight. I want the flag that represents both. And so put that somewhere either within the state or off to the side. Make sure it's also clearly labeled. And then highlight 3 unique features for each province and 3 features for the state. I'm looking for you to use some creativity, add your own areas of interest on this one. I want you to find 3 things that would be something I would easily find from there, and something that interests you. And so if it's a major destination for skiing and you like skiing, then you could include that. If it's something that you're really into sports and you want to check out some of the sports teams are in there, then go ahead and highlight some of those. Now, try to vary your topics here. Don't go into all the major sports teams. Make sure that you highlight a number of different interests. So then I want you to also add some pictures to highlight some of those features. I'm not going to put a number on how many I'm looking for, but let's try to avoid some of the major white space that's left where you could have added in some visuals to help us see what your state or province would really be like. And make sure that you connect those visuals to the map somehow or to the topic. So that way they're not just hanging off there and floating into space without any sort of relevance. We don't have any labels for them or any lines that draw connection to the map itself. Make sure that that's connected so that we know that. A few things that I've observed over the years that are important for us to succeed on these maps. First of all, use color features. You don't have to have a color printer at home in order to use color features. Now, that certainly can help, but there's other ways you can add color to your poster, especially if you are using just a blank white poster board that you get from Walmart at the dollar store. Those are fine and those are usually cheaper, but you need to have something for this to pop, and so we need to add some color. So you can put construction paper behind your photos. You can add colored markers. You can draw things. There's all kinds of ways for you to be able to incorporate color without having to break the bank and go out and print off high quality color photos. So with that being said, make sure that you use some creativity with that to include some color. This one here is key. When we talk about text, all of your writing and text needs to be easy to see. It needs to be neat. If you don't have the greatest handwriting, this is not the time for you to try something new. This is the time for you to maybe make use of a stencil or make use of a printer, and that you cut it out neatly so that way it's easy to be read by the audience. And when that happens, once again, use highlights or borders, cut out some construction paper, or at very minimum, when you cut out that label that you're putting on to the poster board, take a marker and outline it so that way it stands out, so you don't have that white paper on the white poster board with a little bit of black ink that printed off with your printer. You can also create text boxes with your computer to be able to cut out and use for that as well. So make sure your text is easy to see and neat. Make use of the text boxes and borders and connect the visuals to the location on the map. I think I mentioned those already. We are looking for you to use phrases or captions when it comes to text on your poster board. Please do not put your essay on your poster board. That is not the place for it. I will read those on Canvas. The essay does not belong here at all. Now, you certainly can use information you learned from the essay on your poster board, but it needs to be in short captions or phrases. Kind of think of the old version of Twitter, or perhaps what you would post on an Instagram post. Something small, something to grab people's attention, something that relates to the photo or the image, but you're not going to give me the whole story right there in that caption. So that way, I'm interested about it because I see it in your visual and I'm going to go read about it in your essay. Or it might cause some of your classmates to ask, hey, what's that all about? What is that landform? You've labeled it greatest place on earth. What does that mean? What is it all about? And that way you get to talk to that person and share what you learned about it. So that's the poster board. Those need to come to class by the due date. And so please check Canvas because the due dates will be different based on the class that you're in. And so those need to show up to class and they can be brought in on that day, and then I will also give a day where those need to disappear and they need to go home. As much as I love them, I don't want them hanging around my classroom for the remainder of the year, and so we will give a time where you need to take those home. Now let's talk about the essay for a moment. There are 6 themes that we talked about in class that fulfill the acrostic GRAPES, and so I listed those here briefly on the information sheet. If you were not here or you missed that, you can see me or see one of your classmates for a further explanation of GRAPES. This is also something that you can easily type into Google and you can find a good explanation. It's widely used by many geography classes, so it's not something unique just to my class. But you need to have one paragraph for each of those 6 items, and we're looking for you to compare and contrast your province and your state. So if you have the state of Indiana and the province of Ontario, you're going to look at each one of these paragraphs and you're going to talk about what is the unique geography of Indiana compared to Ontario? How are they similar? How are they different? And so you want to highlight that a little bit in that paragraph. Same thing when you get to paragraph number 2 on religion. What is the main religion of people that live in Indiana compared to those that are living in Ontario? And you want to do that all the way through all 6 of these paragraphs. I'm not looking for you to write a book or to make these extremely long, but I also want you to give us a quick summary of what you know about the 2 regions and compare and contrast them for us. I do not require for this particular assignment for you to have an intro or a conclusion paragraph, but it is important for you to make sure that you are employing good grammar and proper English that you would also do in your English class here in this essay. So for that, there are a couple keys to success. Do not use first or second person in your writing. Make sure you stay in the formal third person grammar, and we want you to include facts rather than personal opinion. Things like, I believe this is the greatest state in the 50 United States. Well, that's great. We love your opinion, but not for this particular essay. This is a research-based essay, and we want you to present facts of why it's important for each of the 6 items of the GRAPES acrostic. So this should be roughly 2 pages. We are double spacing, and we're using 11 or 12 point font. I can let you spill a little bit onto that 3rd page, but I really want you to be focusing on being concise and making sure that you are getting to the point, but also explaining it well enough to be able to get a frame of reference. So don't be so short that we don't get any detailed information. So no longer than 3. If it goes onto a 3rd page, that's fine, but let's keep it within 3 pages, but we're hoping for right around 2, maybe a little bit onto the 3rd. Because we are using lots of references and we're using lots of sources to help gather information, you do need to have a Works Cited page. There's a link here that takes you to the Purdue Online Writing Lab and gives you some information on that. I'm not going to grade real strictly on the exact proper formatting of that Works Cited page, but I want you to make sure that you are citing those and practicing putting those into a Works Cited reference. And so anytime that you are pulling information from other sources, you need to make sure that if you are using somebody else's information, that you are giving them proper credit. And if you're not sure what that means or how to do that, please come talk to me or talk to your English teacher, and she'd be more than happy to walk through that with you. But when you're not sure, you want to make sure that you ask somebody so that you are not accidentally plagiarizing. If you are copying and pasting, it has to have a direct quote. If you are rephrasing, only changing 1 or 2 words, that is still copying somebody else's original thought. It's not your own. And so we want to be careful. We want to continue to work on that. So as I mentioned before, I gave you a couple examples from years past, and you can see some of the things that they did. Some of them did them really well. Some of them, there's a little bit of work that should be done in here. And so hopefully this helps clarify a few things, and for those of you that may have missed this or were not in class, help you get on the right path.